Hi, my name is Father Dan Cambra, and I'm a Marian of the Immaculate Conception, the religious community that operates the National Shrine of Divine Mercy here in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And today I'd like to speak to you about the renovator of our community. The Marians have gone through various rises and ebbs in its population, and has never really been a large community by any means. Presently, we number about 500 members, and many of them, better than half, are in Poland itself, where we were founded by Blessed Stanislaus Papczynski. Unfortunately, during the last Tsarist regime, there was a program to get rid of Catholic religious communities, and the Marians of the Immaculate Conception came under that ban. Eventually, although there were about 30 members in the world living as Marians with white habits and following the rule that had been set up under the old Constitution, they had come down to only one member who still lived in what was canonically a religious house. Father Sankus was the last living Marian living in a Marian house wearing his religious habit. And Blessed George was already a bishop. Blessed George Matulaitis sought permission from the Holy Father to become a novice in this community of one man, in the hopes that he might renew, renovate, reconstruct this religious community in such a way as its charism might continue into the 19th and 20th centuries. As it turned out, Blessed George was the only member of the community while he was still a novice. Father Sankus went on to his final reward. But Pope Pius X gave permission to Blessed George to make his first vows and his renewal of vows and his final vows. And Blessed George in turn received other members, both of the Western as well as Eastern rites of the Catholic Church. Bishop Buccis, an Eastern Rite bishop and a close friend of Blessed George, was among those who entered the community and eventually succeeded Blessed George as the Superior General. Blessed George, in his renovation of the religious community, was the one who was responsible for getting permission from Pope Pius X to become the first religious community to give up their religious garb, their distinctive white habit, which symbolized and made manifest their devotion to the Immaculate Conception. Blessed George felt it was important that the Marians be able to work without being noticed by the Tsarist regime, and so they adopted the clerical garb of the day, which was a cassock. And in turn, to this time in our lives, Marians do not wear a habit, but rather live the three vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience to the best of their natural abilities and their God-given talents, and proclaim the gospel as clearly as they possibly can. Our charisms remained constant. Our focus on proclaiming the Immaculate Conception and helping people to come to understand how this great gift of God's mercy is in fact a sign of His providential care for each and every one of us. We also are the first religious community of men to have as their charism praying for the dead. Blessed George realized that the Marians had given him wonderful instruction when he was a young boy, when he was growing up and when he was being educated by them. And he desired to maintain the charisms of the community, but in a newer format, one that would survive the Tsarist regime that was oppressing them. He also had some difficulties from within. There was the constant ethnic fighting between the Lithuanians and the Poles, but he was able to rise above that and very often brought about a sense of community amongst them. In his own time, he came to the United States and was able to be instrumental in doing a confirmation as well as an ordination. When he went back, he found himself succumbing to the long terminal illnesses of his life, and finally he died in 1927. Through the intercession of Blessed George Matulaitis, may God Almighty bless you and all those whom you love.